He's a real big dude.
I think that this is a pretty complicated set. It's at least to look at, just kind of to glance through it without playing it and figure out anything that's going on. Like the only other set review I did was M21, and there really wasn't that much to that as far as different archetypes and stuff. Like you have snow in this. I mean, I would literally have to like have somebody lay out for me all the snow cards in a pile, by color, by this and that, and spend probably a couple hours like mentally sorting through them to see what the fuck goes with what. Like, it's just not, it just doesn't make any sense for me to try to do something like that. So really, I think I'm going to have a lot of these cards, and I'm just going to tell you, look, I have no idea. Especially in this set. So I'm not going to tell you, I'll tell you if it's a guess. I'll tell you if how strong I feel about something. I don't usually rate every card by letter. Like, I'm not going to rate, a card that's an A against another card that's a B+. I mean, they're probably not in the same pack together. It's starting now, basically. I'm explaining my review process. Well, no, I'm explaining it. If I see something that I think will pair well with a certain thing or go well with a certain thing, like that's why I'm starting with these gold cards. Maybe I see what the themes are about, stuff like that. That's kind of what I look for anyways, to be like, hey, look, if you're in this deck, maybe you want to look out for this card a little, a little more than you would in another deck. My mic was turned around. Hopefully I sound a little better now. So that's kind of how I do it. But again, I thought I did a good job with the M21. And it's not that I gave everything a grade, but I knew what cards wanted to go with what for the most part. But that was a much more simple set. So, I don't know. Again, there's a lot of these cards I've never seen. I saw probably the flashy rares when they were spoiled, but I hope not. We'll see, because I might just kind of like tell you I don't know on some of them. But if it's going to be that long, I might have to do it in 2 parts. I don't know. Yeah, sure. I will do my best, at least at the start, to read these card names, read what they do, stuff like that, so that people can listen to it, on a VOD or maybe on YouTube in their car or whatever. But I might at some point abbreviate things. I don't know. I'm not doing that. No, Enos. Thank you, but no. That would be a lot more to it, but I'm sure somebody could do a good job with that if you really cared. Okay, Nico Defies Death. It's a Saga. Blue-white 1 to cast. Chapter 1, you gain 2 life for each foretold card you own in exile. Chapter 2, add 2 mana. Spend this mana only to foretell cards and cast blah 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 foretell cards. Number 3, return target card with foretell from your graveyard to your hand. I think it'll be pretty decent in like a 1 deck. Cost 3, I don't think you necessarily will play it on 3. So, with this Chapter 2, like if you have a card that has foretell, like it doesn't have to already be foretold, right, to cast it? Like let's say you have the 5 mana Wrath of God in your hand that I know is in this set. If I play this card, can I use this 2 mana to cast the Wrath from my hand? If so, the card's probably a little bit better. If not, it's probably a little bit worse. But it gets back a card. I mean, it's playable in a deck. I don't think it's a high pick. Viga the Watcher, 3 mana, blue-white 1, flyer, 2/2. When you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, draw a card. Seems awesome. Seems quite good. People play the Windrake anyway. So obviously when you foretell, when you cast a card that you've paid foretell on or whatever, you'll draw a card. He seems very good. Into the blue-black stuff. Nafri King. 5 mana. These are going to be a blue and a black and 3 or whatever. Looks like a snow theme. Other snow and zombie creatures get +1/+1. He's a 4/3 for 5. Not the worst. 3 snow mana. Return him from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. This guy seems pretty sick to me. Mostly for just that, not for the bonus on snow and zombie creatures. I don't know. Seems good. No what else to say, really. I can't give him a grade or anything. Blue-black Saga, 2 blue-black. I've seen this one. So yeah, Chapter 1 is exchange control of 2 target creatures. So obviously you give them a creature, you take a creature. You know, if you have small stuff, I don't know if blue-black has like tokens and stuff. Chapter 2 is exchange control of 2 non-basic non-creature permanents. So you could do lands if they're not basic, or you could give them this. I don't know, like this card seems not the kind of card I like, but I do like that. I mean, it's a lose 3, gain 3 as well. Like if it ever benefits you on Chapter 1, I kind of like it. Like you get a little bit of benefit there, and then a drain 3 is pretty good. Yeah, they have to share a type, so you'd have to give them this for an enchantment, or you'd have to do a, you know, an artifact for an artifact or something. Chapter 2 kind of sucks. This dude's sweet. I saw him. Kardur Doomscourge. He's the black-red legendary demon berserker. Black, red, and 2 for the 4/3 creature. Is an ETB that when he enters the battlefield, until your next turn, your opponents have to attack you. I'll just read him what exactly he says, I guess. Until your next turn, creatures your opponents control attack each combat if able and attack a player other than you. Well, that's not going to work. They're going to attack you. I thought it might say you or Planeswalker. So I guess he would prevent your Planeswalker from being attacked if you had one. I don't even know if they're in this set. But anyhow, they have to attack you on their next turn with everything. When an attacking creature dies, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. So when they're running shit into your creatures the next turn, if they do, they're going to lose some life, you're going to gain some life. Also, you could just, like, take all the damage and attack them back. Also, this ability is not until end of turn. And it will also work when you attack and they block. And your attacking creatures die. It's not only their attacking creatures. So this guy's pretty good, I think. Like, even if it just, like, comes down, they all have to attack you and you don't even block them. And then you just swing back. Now, the Saga for black-red. I mean, yeah, again, no grade. 2, a black, a red. This is Chapter 1, you can sack a creature. When you do, it deals 3 damage to any target. So that's interesting that basically the blue-black and the black-red Saga both want you to have, like, fodder. Like, shit creatures. So we'll have to see if there's any of that in black that kind of goes into both those colors. Number 2, each player discards a card. Number 3, return creature card from your graveyard. Put a 1/1 counter on it. It gains haste. I think it'll be very deck dependent. I think it's pretty good, though. You don't even have to do Chapter 1. I mean, look, it's obviously 4 mana and delayed 2 turns to get this, like, zombify effect. So you're going to want to, like, get some value out of the first 2 chapters. You're not going to want to just play this, do nothing on Chapter 1, then each have to discard symmetrically on Chapter 2 just to get something back. But, like, I mean, that's bad, and if that's its worst case. You wouldn't want it then, but, you know, whatever. You can probably get this to not be so symmetrical. Yeah, or if you just have an empty hand or whatever, right? Green-red, Saga. Arnie slays the troll. A red and a green. Chapter 1. Target creature you control fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. So, I mean, this is... You're not gonna play this on turn 2 and get anything out of that. So maybe this is like to double spell later. Chapter 2, add red mana. Put 2 1/1 counters on up to 1 target creature you control. I mean, that's pretty good. Like, and then 3, you gain life. Yeah, okay. So 3 kind of sucks. So basically, yeah, you're going to want to cast this as kind of a cheap fight spell in the mid-game. And then you'll get to boost a creature the next turn. I'm not a big fan of this card. Now look, it's obviously fine. But for a gold uncommon, I'm not a big fan of this card. Yeah, I see what it does. Not a big fan. Playable, I'm not saying you don't put it in your deck, but this guy I've seen, and this guy seems awesome. So to me, here's what I like about this. Is at least so far to me, red-green looks like it's not supposed to just be some pure aggressive strategy. Which would actually lead this to being a better card. This Arnie thing, because it's not super aggressive. So maybe that card's better than I give it credit for, because maybe red-green's doing something different for once. Because this is not an aggressive creature. So he's 3 mana for a 2/4, green, red, and 1. This is Spella Ice Shaper. 3 tap, you create a manalith, basically. It's a snow artifact, so I assume it's adding a snow mana? Is that correct? Or is it, I mean, if a snow artifact, it says a mana of any color, I'm assuming it's a snow mana? Okay. So you can make those every turn or whatever. And thank you, Lunch Supper Victory, for the subscription. And 8 mana in tap, which obviously is a lot, but you look at the top 4 cards of your library, you can cast a spell without paying its mana cost. I mean, 4 cards is a lot. So if you ever get to 8 mana with this guy, like, he's super good. Like, I hate to compare him to this card, but there was a 2/4 green creature. I don't even remember what set it was in. But it costs like, it was common and it was pretty crappy, people thought, but I still kind of liked it. It cost like 6 mana and you tapped it and you looked at the top 4 for a creature, I think. It went into your hand. You know, this is more expensive, but he's a 2/4 for 3, which will stabilize you earlier. He also generates mana tokens. And you get to look at 4 cards that goes right into play. So, like, this guy's awesome, I think. I like him a lot. He's a different kind of card than, like, the blue-white flyer. Like, the blue-white flyer will accrue you advantage fast and kind of snowball. This guy, I think, works with a snow plan, though. Slow down and stuff. I like this kind of card. I think that's... If this is what green-red likes to do, this is the kind of green-red I like to play. Green-white card. This card I thought was awesome when I saw it. Alright, this is the green-white Saga. Fall of the Imposter. 1 green and a white. Chapter 1 and 2 are put a 1/1 counter on up to 1 target creature. So, you know, it comes down, puts a counter on something, next turn puts a counter on something, and then it says exile a creature with the greatest power among target creatures opponent controls. You can put the counter on one of theirs if you want, but I think this card is good. I liked this card when I saw it. I think it's one of the better Sagas. Like, most of them I can't really tell. Like, I'm like, yeah, I don't know if you're going to have stuff to sack or stuff to exchange. I like this card. It would be better if you could just exile anything, right? I mean, this is like, if they have some, like, really like, let's say they have this guy, you can't get him because they have a 3/3, you know? Anyways, this thing, I think this thing sucks. Maha Bretigard Protector. White, green, and 2. For a 2/3. Sign me up. Other creatures you control get +1/+1. When a land enters the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 white human warrior token, which will be more like a 2/2. I think it's garbage. Next. Ascent of the Worthy, Black-White Saga. 1 white and a black. Chapter 1 and 2 are the same. Choose a creature you control. Until your next turn, all damage that would be dealt to creatures you control is dealt to that creature instead. Certainly not always going to do anything. But sometimes it'll be really good if you have a big board. Number 3, Chapter 3. Return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a flying counter on it. That creature is an angel warrior in addition to its other types. I don't know. I mean, not something you're going to want to play on turn 3 or probably even turn 4. You're going to have a board built up. They're going to have a board built up. From what I've seen, some decks have large toughness. You're seeing 2/3s, 2/4s, stuff like that. This works more if everything has high power, low toughness, because you can attack with all your big stuff and only lose one creature. I don't think it seems very good, but could be wrong on this one. Yeah, I don't like it. I mean, it's not a 3-mana reanimate with flying. You play it, and in 3 turns, you get a creature back. You gotta wait while you're getting your ass stomped to get this reanimate. If you name Phyrexian Obliterator, you'll have to have Phyrexian Obliterator in play. They'll probably have to sack all their shit. But I'm doing a draft set review, and I don't think Phyrexian Obliterator's in the set. No. The green-white one is putting +1/+1 counters on your creatures and letting you attack them. This is doing next to nothing, and then you're trying to get something back that died. Also, this conflicts with this, because you want these to kill your shittiest creature, and you want to get back something decent with flying. So I think this card sucks. I'm not going to sit and argue with you guys about every card, though, that you think is different. I'm trying to read the chat and interact some, but I don't think it's very good. Here we have a black-white creature. Haven't seen this one yet. Firja, Judge of Valor. Black, black, white, and 2. It's a 2/4, but it has flying and lifelink. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. I think it's pretty good. I mean, it's worth the mana. You know, if it dies right away, you're not getting anything out of it, but 2/4 flying lifelink's pretty good stats for 5 mana. I don't know how much you're going to be 2-spelling once you've already cast a 5-drop. Like, I don't know if it's... I don't know what black-white... Like, I don't know if there's cantrips in black-white. Like, is there a black-white opt-type card, even if it doesn't scry? Like, they told me black-white is like this draw 2 or cast 2 cards set or something, but... I mean, does it have stuff like that? Revitalize? I mean, yeah, that's something. The runes, okay, yeah, I mean... I think this is a good card. I think. This is where black-white has 3 cards somehow here in the gold section. So this is an enchantment. Rampage the Valkyries. White, black, and 3. When Rampage the Valkyries enters the battlefield, create a 4/4 white angel token with flying and vigilance. Whenever an angel you control dies, each other player sacrifices a creature. So this card's just great. I guess the only thing is if they bounce your token, it doesn't trigger. Oh, not in draft? Okay, done. Red-blue cards. This we've got creature here. Aegir the Freezing Flame. He's blue-red 1. 3/3. Giant wizard, if that matters. Whenever a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls is dealt excess damage, if a giant wizard or spell you controlled dealt damage to this turn, draw a card. So I assume this means like if a 2/2 were to have blocked him, for instance, or if you lightning bolted a 2/2. And it's any time it happens to any creature, so that you could draw multiple cards with this or whatever. I mean, it's a 3/3 for 3 on its floor, right? And then I think giant matters as a creature type. Draw even if he... Oh, yeah, I guess if he were to die in combat as well, but... But not if they just kill him, right? Anyhow. I think it's good. I mean, its floor is high. It's a 3/3 for 3. You know, it doesn't have to do much. If it ever draws a card, it's very good. You know, I'm not expecting it just to go off very often. But certainly good. You know, even if it's just a 3/3 for 3 that threatens to do more. Alright, Red Blue Saga. 2 mana, blue and a red. Chapter 1, Scry 2. Honestly, not bad for a blue and a red on a Saga. I haven't read the rest, but that's something you can actually do if you play it early in the game. Chapter 2, draw a card. That's a good start. Then you may reveal a giant card from your hand. When you do, Invasion of the Giants deals 2 damage to target opponent or planeswalker. I was about to say, if that did damage to creatures, like I'm already like on Scry 2, draw a card, I'm already sold. Alright, number 3. The next giant spell you cast this turn costs 2 less to cast it. This card seems great, and it's one you want to play early. I mean, if you draw it in the late game, it's basically you just scry 2 and draw a card on the next turn. So, you know, punished a little bit, but it's still fine. It's just like a delayed preordain. Milk Crate. That's your warning. I'm talking about the fucking cards. You give them a rating in your head if you want. I say if they suck or not. How the fuck am I going to know what letter grade to give a card without playing with it? And then if I go, oh, I like this, let's give it a B. And then I see one a little bit later that I like a little bit more, I got to give it a B+. And then what if I find something even better? Then I got, you know, what am I supposed to do? Go back and redo all the other ones? It's never ending. Into the green-black. Binding the Old Gods. Green, black, and 2. It's a saga. Also, I don't know how to rate all these sagas without playing with them. It's crazy. Chapter 1. Destroy target non-land permanent and opponent controls. Yeah, I remember seeing this one. That's obviously good. It's a 4-mana removal spell. Chapter 2, you search for a forest. You can get a snow duel, snow forest. That's cool. And then number 3, creatures you control gain death touch. Probably doesn't matter a whole lot, but this card's good. It's a, you know, black-green removal spell. So this will continue with the theme of black-green in recent sets where it has no theme. It's just supposed to kill things and play creatures and not really do anything special, I guess. That's what this saga tells me. It tells me, look, you get to play black-green and get a removal spell. Let's see if the creature says anything else. Here we have Herald, King of Skemfar. Black-green 1 for a 3/2. Menace. When Herald, King of Skemfar enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may have an Elf, Warrior, or Tyvar, whatever the fuck that is, card, from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom in any order, or in a random order if that matters. I mean, it's 3/2 Menace for 3. I assume if you have some Tyvars or Elves or Skimfers or something, that it's fine. Again, no theme for green-black. Apparently Menace. Menace and removal. Alright, red-white. Forging the Tyrite Sword is a saga. Red-white 1. Chapter 1 and 2, create a treasure token. So now red-white wants to ramp. Chapter 3. Search your library for a card named Halvar, God of Battlement, or an equipment card. Reveal it, put it into your hand, and I have no idea. I can't rate it till I see whatever these cards are that you can get. But it seems pretty crappy. I mean, you have to have like some rare equipment probably, or probably whatever this god is. Otherwise, it's pay 3 mana, get some treasures, and then a couple turns later get an equipment. I can imagine the equipment's going to suck. Red-white creature. A red and a white. He's a 2/2. Cole the Forge Master. So 2/2 for 2. He's Dwarf Warrior. When another non-token creature you control dies, if it was enchanted or equipped, return it to owner's hand. Creature tokens you control that are equipped or enchanted get +1/+1. is probably decent. I bet you this archetype's going to suck. I mean, it really doesn't do a lot. I guess the part about, I mean, it kind of protects the creature you equip because you want to kill this first. It's basically, I consider it a red and white gold. What's the dog? The 1/1 dog that you can sack to protect stuff. A 2-mana one. Yeah, it's basically an awful selfless savior that can't even protect fully. They can just kill the equipped thing if they want to. That's about where that's at. Okay, so the blue-green Simic. This thing looks cool, I'll tell you that right now. We got Morite the Frost, a 0/0 creature for blue, blue, green, and 2. He's a changeling. You may have Morite of the Frost enter the battlefield as a copy of a permanent you control, except its legendary and snow in addition to its other types. And if it's a creature, it gets 2+1/+1 counters on it and has changeling. It seems good, I guess. I mean, you have to have something in play for it to do anything. But, I mean, creature +2/+2. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it, but like it should be okay. If you're even if you're cloning a 3 or 4 drop, it's probably fine if it's getting 2 counters on it. And the last one of these, finally, on these fucking gold sagas. Blue-green saga. It costs 1 blue, 1 green. The 3 Seasons. Chapter 1, mill 3 cards. I assume that means of yourself. Chapter 2, return up to 2 target snow permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. I think that's going to be like, I have to see these snow permanents. Are there things you can sacrifice that are snow permanents? Like, is there any weird, like, Traveler's Amulet type snow permanent or something like that? Like, you know, that draws a card or like... Because otherwise, you're probably not going to even hit one on your mill 3. You're probably going to want to play this later in the game. Number 3, choose 3 cards in each graveyard. Their owners shuffle those cards into their libraries. I mean, I think this card's okay. It seems like kind of a late game. Like, you want it in the late game. I don't know. It's like a bad card advantage card, in my opinion. But I do think some of these snow decks, if it plays out like these other sets... They often are threat light. They're often kind of rampy, kind of removal heavy, and threat light. So the shuffling 3 cards back into your deck, I can see that mattering with this kind of deck more than most. Battlefield Raptor, 1 white mana, 1/2 flying first strike. Piss. Codex Cleric, 1 white mana, 1/1, Vigilance. When Codex Cleric enters the battlefield, if it was the second spell cast this turn, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. Piss. Maybe in some deck. Maybe, but it's like a Beetleback Chief or whatever the fuck. Beetle, 1/1 Beetle for 2 that maybe you get a discount on. Sounds awful. Alright, Valor of the Worthy, 1 white mana, enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1. When enchanted creature leaves the battlefield, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. I think that this will be good in an archetype that I think is going to be awful. That red-white enchanted nonsense deck. I have no desire for this. It's unimpactful. But I think that deck will play it. So, whatever you give to that, a C or some fucking thing. There's the first rating. No, I don't. Because this card I know I like. Wings of Cosmos, 1 white mana instant. Target creature gets +1/+3 and gains flying until end of turn. Untap it. This gets high praise, the ham seal of approval. It works with Boast and other things. Also, there's wolves on it, and one of them has wings, so it's pretty fucking sweet. It gets whatever nice early letter grade milk crate wants to give it. Best Skier Shieldmate. 1 and a white, 2/1. When Beskir Shieldmate dies, create a 1/1 human warrior creature token. I think it's going to be kind of crappy. I think everyone's looking at this and thinking it's some kind of premium card or something. I look at it like it's kind of shit. You know, the Oligarch was okay in its set and it gave you a flyer. Like, this is like the best thing White's got probably for 2 mana at common, but I'm unimpressed by it. Obviously, people are going to play it. It's not like it's going to... No one's going to play it, but I don't think it's anything special. That's my guess. Without seeing the set. I have a hard time believing a 2/1 is going to, like, fucking run somebody over this day and age. Giant Ox. 06 for a white and 1. You can crew vehicles with his toughness. I know there's a plow that goes with this thing. Besides that, he might actually be good. I might actually like him. There might be a white deck I think he blocks well, and I don't know. When I say that, I mean as in a C- type level. We're in like a set where I would like a blue 05, like a turtle, like the, you know, the flash turtle I liked in some decks. I could see him potentially filling a role like that. I have no clue because I haven't played with the cards or seen what they look like or where they would go. But I could see this slotting into something like that. As far as an aggressive card that goes in your vehicle deck, you better have some plows. Because he looks pretty shitty to me for that. Revitalize. I think it's going to be awesome, actually. I think it'll be I've liked it always, and I think this will be by far the best it's ever been. A high pick. Let's give it a solid milk grade B. If you don't know what it does, fuck off. Story Seeker. White and 1 creature. 2/2 lifelink. I don't know. It's 2/2 lifelink. If there's life gain matters stuff, maybe it's okay. If you're heavily enchanting and heavily like equipping things, might be okay too. It's a dwarf if that matters. I don't think clerics matter. Otherwise, looks like filler crap. But it could be good if those other conditions are met. Bounding Gold, white and 2, enchantment, aura, enchanted permanent. Enchanted permanent can't attack, block, or crew vehicles, and its activated abilities can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. So it's like an arrest. You know, these effects are usually pretty decent. You know, maybe if there's a shit ton of auras and people are main decking enchantment hate if there is some. You know, maybe it's worse, but it hits lands. I mean, what? You can still tap them for mana, like, cool. Doomscar Oracle, 3 mana, 3/2. He has Foretell, and you can foretell him for a single white. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, you gain 2 life. So if you didn't have a 2-drop, you foretell this. You can't double spell with it on turn 3. You need to have like 2 3-drops or something. So like, I guess you're going to foretell this on turn 2, play a 3-drop on turn 3, then turn 4, you're going to flip this up for a white and play another 3-drop, and then you get to gain 2 life. Obviously, this gets the rating of piss. Even if you, like, you can't trigger this but so many times, so it's not even like a control deck. It can gain a bunch of life off of this thing. It doesn't block well. If it was a 2/3, I could see it being a little bit better, but he gets whatever piss grade you want to give him. J-Rebel played, he says. Gold Maw Champion, 2 and a white. Dwarf Warrior, 2/3. Boast, 1 and a white, tap target creature. I mean, it's probably pretty good. It's a toned down version, though, of all these cards we've had in the past. Like, used to get to do this for free in Ixalan on whatever that 2/3 was. And then the Stag and M19 or whatever could do it. Like, it's obviously way worse than any of those, but it's still probably pretty good. I'd have to play with it a little bit to see. In general, though, I like these Boast cards that kind of snowball a bit. And I also think Boast is going to be a little bit like... What was that? What was that ability that brought shit back from the graveyard in Theros? I know you guys know what it was. No. That would be too easy to compare it from. Escape. Diminishing returns a little bit. If all your creatures have boast, you're not going to be able to boast everything. Just like when all your creatures have escape, your Typhon just turns into a textless 4/4 for 4. When you have 1 Typhon, it's actually good in your deck. When you have 7, it's like not. So I think you won't want but so many boasters in general. Or they won't be as good if you have a billion of them. Alright, Invoke the Divine. Here we go. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. You gain 4 life. It's white and 2 instant. It's been around forever, but it hasn't been back for a while, so that's what it is. You know, I don't know. Is it main deckable? I couldn't tell you. Good sideboard card at least. If there's life gain matters stuff that triggers, I don't know if there is. It looks like there could be. I've seen a lot of this random incidental life gain on these white cards. You know, the 4 life, maybe that does something. Besides just give you 4 life. Expensive, he says. Well, how many fucking artifacts that cost less than 3 do you need to kill right away? Generally, you're killing something that costs more than 3 with that card. So I would not say it's expensive. Well, you don't want to kill BS enchantments. That's not what you want to do. Like, you don't use your removal spell to kill a 1/2 flyer for 1. You save it for something big. You've got to do that with this as well. You don't want it to kill their rune. Anyways, Iron Verdict. 2 and a white. Instant. Iron Verdict deals 5 damage to target tapped creature. Also, you can foretell it, and you can pay 1 white to cast it after you have foretold it. I like this. It's pretty nice. And unlike most cards that you can't, like, cast the same turn if you have foretold them or whatnot, like, you know, this one's killing a tap creature, so assuming it's something that's going to be attacking you, like, it's still the same casting cost if you pay the 2 and then the 1 on their turn. So if you have out, like, your bird or whatever that cares when you foretold a card, you don't have to wait around on this one necessarily. Seems quite good for a common to me. Obviously, it's not good in your aggressive decks necessarily, but I like it. Summary Judgment-ish type card. You know, if you have stuff that cares about foretell, at least, it's quite good. The Starnheim Courser. He's a Flying Pegasus. White and 2 for a 2/2. So it's a Windrake. Artifact and enchantment spells cost 1 less to cast. I'm sure in the right deck it's going to be pretty decent. I mean, it's if a 2/2 flyer for 3 is not awful in your deck, and you have a few enchantments and artifacts, equipment and such, it's probably pretty good. You could even get 2 of these down and maybe, like, then go nuts on your equipment or whatever. I mean, I don't think it's, like, awesome, but there's some upside there for the right deck. Yeah, it flies. It's a Windrake. It's a Windrake. So this is the kind of boost card I was talking about before that snowballs. Like, it's like in the late game, if you get this guy going unchecked, like it's not gonna be, since he's a 4-drop, you know, the 2-mana boast on. Alright, let me say what he is first. Axgard Braggart, white and 3. He's a 3/3. Just vanilla 3/3. But boast, you get to untap him and put a 1/1 counter on him when he attacks. So if they're not answering this guy, he's 4/4. You know, vigilance basically the first turn, then a 5/5, then a 6/6, and obviously at this point in the game, the boast mana is not an issue for you, like it could be on some of the smaller creatures. Like this guy is kind of like, you know, if they answer all your other stuff and then this thing goes unchecked, it's going to be a problem fast. So I like this guy. I don't think you want to play a ton of them, but I think he's pretty nice. I think he's a lot better than a 3/3 for 4 looks, at least. Alright, we have the Stalwart Valkyrie, 3 and a white, a 3/2. You may pay 1 and a white and exile a creature card from your graveyard rather than pay this spell's mana cost. Flying. This thing's fucking awesome. A creature card, I guess. So there was a card, Bone Picker or something, that was a 3/2. Now, he had Death Touch. And he was 1 black mana, but something had to die that exact turn for that to trigger. I mean, this is nice. It's a 3/2 flyer for 4, which I've always kind of hated the 3/2 flyer for 4 in the last couple years, but people do play. And I mean, the fact that you can play it for 2, unless it's competing with other stuff in your graveyard, like unless the graveyard matters a lot, I see this is really good. Yeah, it's worse than Bone Picker. What? What point did Milk Crate have? He says it's a destroy creature spell. How the hell is it that? It's never going to get played on turn 2. I know that. But you can 2-spell with it and stuff later on. I like it. Anyhow, I think it's good. I think that this upside matters in a white deck. When you're, you want this in an aggressive white deck. Like, it lets you, like, boast a creature and cast this in a turn. When otherwise you'd just be paying 4 mana to cast it. Like, that's the kind of bonus it is. You don't want to just, like, if you have nothing else to spend the mana on, of course it doesn't matter. Alright, Master Scald. 4 and a white, 5-drop, 4/4. When Master Scald enters the battlefield, you may exile a creature card from your graveyard. If you do, return target artifact or enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand. I can't rate him. I don't know. I don't know how much these... I mean, artifact creatures, I guess. Well, he gets back Sagas. I mean, he's probably decent. I don't know. Wonderful. That ought to be fun for me, Dr. Slurm. I'm looking forward to it. Fuck, about to have an internet outage over here in Virginia. Warhorn Blast. 4 and a white, instant. Creatures you control get +2/+1 until end of turn. Foretell for 2 and a white. That's what you cast it for if you foretold it. Don't look great, but +2 on an attack if there's tokeny stuff, which I haven't seen yet, to my knowledge. Doesn't look good in a boast deck where you're kind of building up one thing. I guess some of the boast things put tokens into play, but I don't know. This is the way I like to play white, not these enchantments and stuff, but I haven't seen the support for this yet. I don't think as of now, it don't look great to me. This is an interesting one here to me. I've seen this one. It's obviously not an aggressive card, really. It would be a good sideboard card in the aggressive mirror. This is God's Hall Guardian. It is 6 mana, 5 and a white for a 3/6 vigilance. You can foretell it for 4 mana. 3/6 is a pain in the ass for a lot of decks. I can see this thing. I could see it sucking. I could also see in the right slow defensive deck that this is the Stonewall that you need. It just really depends on how many creatures, like the boast guy that taps, or like, how many easy ways there are to interact with just a vanilla 3/6. I don't know. Well, sideboard card maybe, but like if you're a snow deck or whatever that has white in it, if that's a thing, then I think this is pretty good. Usher the Fallen. 1 white mana, 2/1 creature. Spirit Warrior, if that matters. Has Boast. 1 and a white. Create a 1/1 white human warrior token. Yeah. I mean, I think this might be more of a constructed card. Obviously, if you get out turn 1, it's great. And if you have enough cards in your deck that are good if you get them turn 1, you can build a deck like that. Otherwise, it's probably not going to end up working out too well. It's probably just going to be, mediocre card. If there's a decent amount of 1-drops where you can get one in your opening hand even half the time, you're going to run a lot of people over. It's obviously a great card, stat-wise. It's just if you do draw it in the mid-game, it doesn't really do much. The Clarion Spirit. 1 and a white 2/2. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, create a 1/1 white spirit token with flying. This seems great. This is exactly what you want. I mean, it comes out as a 2-drop. And so, you know, it'll be out there the whole game for you to, like, activate it, you know. Yeah, I mean, it's a 2-drop they're going to want to kill. If they don't, you'll probably get some 1/1s off of it. Seems great to me. Divine Gambit, white for a sorcery. Exile target artifact, creature, or enchantment an opponent controls. That player may put a permanent card from their hand onto the battlefield. I don't know what other people have said about this card. I could see people saying it's just unplayable, or I could see people thinking it's great. I don't know. I think this in a control deck is fine. I mean, but you got to be careful with it. I think you want it only in a controlling deck. You don't really want it in an aggressive deck at all. But in a controlling deck, to kill their big thing, I think it can be okay. But it's narrow. It's not for an aggressive deck, really, at all. Because you're trying to kill them while they still have cards in their hand in an aggressive deck. So it's not for that, but I think for a controlling deck that just wants to answer everything, it could be fine. Alright, this thing we already did. Rune of Sustenance. 1 and a white. Enchantment aura rune. Enchant any permanent. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. As long as the permanent is a creature, it has lifelink. As long as the permanent is an equipment, the equipped creature has lifelink. I think it's pretty good. Helps you to do these 2 spell things. It's a lot of lifelink, and I'm not seeing any like actual payoff for gaining life. But I think that you should just be pretty mindful that white has a lot of lifelink if you're trying to play some kind of weird aggressive deck. I've seen a lot of life gain. Life gain's like on fucking everything. Dude, I'm on the second. I'm on white cards. I don't know what's viable, and I won't know after I do the whole review either. That's why a set review is useless. You're not going to know anything from it. Great question, Milk Crate. Milk Crate asks, is this set going to be good to draft? No one in the world fucking knows. Also, if I think it's good to draft, it doesn't mean you will think it's good to draft. I might like burnt fucking toast, and you might not. People like different things. It's crazy, right? Ain't it fucking crazy? Whew. I don't know how to rate this card. Don't matter if I do. Spectral Steel. 1 and a white. Enchantment aura. Enchant creature gets +2/+2. You can pay 1 and a white to exile Spectral Steel from your graveyard. Return another aura or equipment card from your graveyard to your hand. What in the world? So if this thing has died, you can get something else back. So if you're playing a bunch of auras and equipments, like, cool, I guess. I don't know. I don't like it, but maybe. Multiples of it go off? I mean, not really. You get to play 2 giant strengths in your deck and get 1 back when they kill them. I don't know. Doesn't impress me. Like, what impresses me more is if you have like a really good equipment or something, then maybe you can get that back. Valkyrie's Sword, 1 and a white equipment. When Valkyrie's Sword enters the battlefield, you may pay 5, a white and 4, so 7 total mana. If you do, create a 4/4 white Angel Warrior token with flying and vigilance. Then attach the sword to it. Equipped creature gets +2/+1, and the equip cost is 3. It doesn't seem horrible. I think that this text is poppycock, really. But +2/+1's not the worst stats for an equipment. I don't like it, but maybe it's playable. Yeah, J-Rab. I read the card. I saw where it said equip 3. Saw that part. Did equip for 0, it'd be too good, right? Battle Shield Warrior, 2 and a white. 2/2. Boast, 1 and a white. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. I'm actually not that wild about this one. If you have to have a pretty wide board. I mean, they're just going to block and kill this guy most of the time. It's attacking as a 3/3. It has to be attacking to do it. It can't do that until turn 4. I would assume most of the time someone will have something out that can block it. Now you get a combat trick, that +1/+3 and untap. Boom, double boast. This thing goes nuts. You know, it's a setup kind of card. I don't think it's a rush and kill you super fast, activate once a turn kind of thing. I think you're going to set it up. Maybe you do it twice, get 2 of these out. It is uncommon, but maybe that's possible. But yeah, something along those lines. It's probably decent, but I think on its own, I don't think it does enough. I think you're going to need to like untap it or pump it some or this and that. Kaya's Onslaught. This is Ron's card. 2 and a white for an instant. Target creature gets +1/+1 against double strike until end of turn. It has Foretell for 1 white. Combat spell that hits hard on a big creature. I don't know if white's going to have. White on its own, I don't think has a lot. That they're just going to kill you in one shot with this. You know, but I think this is just kind of in a white deck, in a base white deck. I'm saying that this is worse by a lot than the +1/+3 and untap. That's common, like by a lot. But maybe if you're in another color as well and you have some big creatures or something, then it's pretty good. Shepherd of the Cosmos, white 4, 3/3 flyer. You can foretell it for 3 and a white. When Shepherd of the Cosmos enters the battlefield, return target permanent card from target permanent card. Converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. I think it's good, yeah. You're gonna, for this to be highly impactful, you probably are gonna want to foretell it. You know, trade off that 3-drop, foretell this on 2, play a 3-drop, trade it off, get it back. No, that doesn't work. Play a 2-drop, foretell it on 3. So you're gonna need an impactful 2-drop. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how many impactful 2-drops there are. I'm not sold on this being that great. I mean, you can play it for 6 as a 3/3 flyer and get something kind of crappy back later in the game. But to me, that doesn't get a super high grade. To me, if this is a 6 mana 3/3 flyer that gets back a 2/1, you know what, C+ kind of card or something, medium, you play it. If you have some really good 2-drops, though, that they're going to want to trade with, and you can kind of get tempo with this a little bit, get a 3/3 flyer and something good back on turn 4, then it's great. Gets back a land. Yeah, if you can do that, it would be good. White rares. Rally the Ranks. A white and 1 enchantment. As Rally the Ranks enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures you control the chosen type get +1/+1. Awful. Piss. Don't want it. Radine, God of the Worthy. White and 2. 2/3. Flying, Vigilant. It's a god. Snowlands your opponent control. Enter the battlefield tapped. Meh. Non-creature spells your opponent's cost with converted mana cost 4 or greater cost 2 or more to cast. Meh. Alright, it's also a flip card. Valkmir Protector Shield, 4 mana. If a source an opponent controls would deal damage to you or a permanent you control, prevent 1 of the damage. Whenever you or another permanent you control becomes a target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, counter that spell as shit. This seems like I don't even know. Constructed card or something. I mean, you play it. It's a flying vigilant 2/3 for 3. I don't know if you take the best common removal over this or not. It's got good stats. It probably hurts the snow decks a decent amount. It's probably better than most commons. Probably not better than good uncommons would be my guess on this card. Righteous Valkyrie. 2 and a white for a 2/4 flyer. Whenever another angel or cleric enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. As long as you have at least 7 life more than your starting life total, creatures you control get +2/+2. This is the first card I've seen that like cares about the life gain that white has to offer. But white does have a lot of life gain to offer. I mean, it's a 2/4 flyer for 3 anyways, with some random upsides. It's pretty damn good. I like it better than the last card, I think, by a little bit. But it's similar. It's like a stat card, you know? It's like a pretty good creature. Maybe its abilities come up. I feel like this one might come up a little more often. I don't know. Runeforge Champion. 2 and a white for a 2/3. Dwarf Warrior. When Runeforge Champion enters the battlefield, you may search your library and or graveyard for a rune card. Reveal it. Put it into your hand. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. You may pay 1 rather than pay the mana cost for rune spells to cast. And this guy's fine. I mean, he's basically a 2/3, like let's say you have the white rune in your deck, and he's kind of like a 2/3 lifelink draw card for 4 mana. You know, if you haven't already drawn your rune or something, like, I don't know, nothing special. To my knowledge, none of these runes are actually like powerful. He will trigger your 2 spells a turn things with any rune, I guess, right away. But not anything to write home about for a rare. Search for Glory. 2 and a white snow sorcery. Search your library for a snow permanent card, a legendary card, or a saga card. Reveal it. Put it into your hand. Then shuffle your library. You gain 1 life for each snow spent to cast a spell. F is my guess, honestly. You better have a hell of a snow card to play a 3 mana tutor to get it. I don't like it. I don't think it's a constructed card or anything. I'm from parts unknown. Sigrid, God Favored. White 1. Legendary creature, human warrior. 2/2. Million abilities. Flash, First Strike, protection from God creatures. When it enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target attacking or blocking creature until it leaves the battlefield. It's obviously fine. I'd honestly rather it just be a 2/2 for 3 that exiled a creature when it came into play and didn't have all the horse shit. You know, you might get to play this, first strike something in combat, small, and exile a big thing. It can lead to blowouts. But in general, these creatures don't wind up in combat a lot. You know, I'd just rather it just kind of be your normal kill a creature. You could play it on your own creature. Sure, I guess so, yeah. What? But it takes it away until this leaves the battlefield. I don't see why you want to play it on your own creature. Honestly, it looks like an uncommon to me from a past set that's a little worse than the other one. Like, it has the potential to be awesome in certain spots, but really it's just a, you know, whatever that guy is, 2/2 for that cost that exiles a creature. And you can't do it aggressively. So, I mean, I think it's pretty bad. Why would you time him out for that, Head Dirtle? Glorious Protector, white 2. 3/4, Flash, Flyer. That's enough right there to make it probably the best one I've seen of these. Unless it has some drawbacks. When Glorious Protector enters the battlefield, you may exile any number of non-angel creatures you control until it leaves the battlefield. You can foretell this for 2 and a white. I mean, yeah. This thing's nice. Little flying simian grunts. If you foretell it, you kind of pay the echo early for 2 white, 2 colorless or whatever. Double white card, but you can get it out for a single white with its foretell. This seems quite good. I mean, this text is kind of like whatever, I guess. If you wait around until they kill something, you can save it and get it back if this dies. But yeah, this thing's nice. Doomscar, the Wrath. You know, if you don't know what it is, white, 3, destroy all creatures, foretell for 1 and white. You know, you'll want it. You might play it in all white, most all your white decks, but you're obviously going to want it in your more controlling ones, not your aggressive creature ones with boast and whatnot. You're going to want it in something else. Maybe, you know, I don't know what the mana fixing's like. I don't know if these snow decks are going to be able to splash double white card in them or not. But, you know, your controlling decks, this is where you'd want this card, mostly. Alright, Resplendent Marshal, white, 1, 3/3 flyer. When Resplendent Marshal enters the battlefield or dies, you may exile another creature card from your graveyard. When you do, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control other than Resplendent Marshal. That shares a creature type with the exile. Dude, I hate doing this shit. Alright, when fucking thing enters the battlefield or dies, exile a creature from a graveyard. 1/1 counter on each creature you control that shares a creature type with it other than the Marshal. Okay. I mean, it's a 3/3 flyer for 3. If the game's gone long and you got some other stuff out, you might give something a counter. It's pretty good. Whew, exactly. Havlar, God of Battle. White, 2, 4/4. Oh, great. This is a flip card. I get to read it twice. Creatures you control that are enchanted or equipped have double strike. At the beginning of each combat, you may attach target aura, equipment, attached to a creature you control to target creature. What the fuck? At the beginning of each of your combat, you may attach target aura or equipment attached to a creature you control to target creature you control. So I guess you can move something if it's already attached? I mean, okay, cool, I guess. Sword of the Realm, 1 and a white. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has vigilance. Whenever equipped creature dies, return it to owner's hand. Yeah, okay, so this is textless, basically, unless you have no creatures. So you just play the sword. And the sword is sick. This card looks like you would never pass it. Pick 1, pack 1, even if white sucks. Better than any other card that'll be in the pack, you know. Starnheim Unleashed. White, 2 sorcery. Create a 4/4 white angel warrior creature token with flying and vigilance. If this spell is foretold, create X of them instead. Foretell cost is white XX. So yeah, you're probably going to foretell this. I mean, unless you're getting crushed and you draw it turn 4 and need to cast it for a 4/4. Or don't have any more lands in an awkward hand. Like for 5 mana, you're getting 2 4/4s. This card's awesome.
He's a real big dude!